Service.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm Robin Smith, the founder of this Rock Your Relationship Sisterhood Facebook group. So happy to see you here. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. We are streaming live into the Facebook group, so make sure you join that group in the link below for other upcoming videos. And I have Risa Gaull with me, and Risa is a long-term friend and colleague. And I'm excited to share what we're up to today, which is how to love yourself first and change your relationships from the inside out. And Risa is a self-love and relationship coach who gently reminds women that they are the love they seek. She believes the way you love yourself sets the tone for every relationship in your life, and I don't disagree with that. Through private coaching and her signature self-love sanctuary circles, Risa helps women break free from old patterns, come home to their worth, and create the deeply fulfilling relationships they long for by connecting with who they truly are. So welcome, Risa. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks so much for having me. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, my pleasure. So Risa, what inspired you to focus on self-love as the foundation for healthy relationships?
Oh my gosh, Robin. Well, I lived the opposite of that. So that was sort of my life story. How do I love myself? How do I like who I am? And I spent a lot of years studying with all the best personal growth experts in the industry, and I did make a lot of progress. But I waited until I was 38 years old to get married because I did not want to have my self-esteem, my sense of who I am, be dependent on anybody else. I was aware I sort of had that kind of pattern running. So I'm 38 and I'm thinking, well, I guess I'm as ready as I'm going to be. And I married a very nice man who about 7 years into our marriage relapsed into alcoholism and depression. And it wasn't until that happened that I realized, I didn't even realize how much I really was still depending on him for that to be that source of security, that sense of love, and for my sense of who I am. And I just didn't realize like how kind of codependent. I didn't know what that word meant at the time, but how codependent I really was being with him. And so I look back on it now, it was actually a real gift because that was a time of real awakening for me because I finally got the type of support that I needed, the coaching support, and had some deep facilitated inner work done that really finally really finally gave me the tools that I needed to really finally learn how do I give that love and acceptance to myself. And so then I ended up pursuing that and becoming certified in that transformational modality, and really just loving all the beautiful women that I get to work with now, doing this deep transformational inner work. Because I mean, that's really what my passion is. That's what lights me up is, we all deserve to feel good about who we are, and we all deserve to create good, healthy, loving connections, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so aligned with you. I mean, and I love that you're doing this work. It really is so important. Yeah, so thank you for what you do and really helping
Mm.
women to see their value and their worth and to come from there in their relationships is just essential. I think I just had a post or something where I said you can't have a healthy relationship, without self-acceptance or something to that effect. So yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's so true.
Mhm. Yep, we're on the same page. So many women struggle with repeating the same relationship patterns. As many of you know, you can say me too if that's you and you're watching. Why do you think this happens?
Yeah, well, most of us were kind of just unconsciously reenacting what we learned about love growing up. If we didn't feel emotionally safe or valued or truly seen, we often carry that into adulthood, and we just start repeating those early dynamics because there's a younger part of us that really still is trying to get that love, and hoping that maybe this time we'll finally get it from that other person. Right. So we develop these patterns, these strategies. It's really kind of fascinating if you think about it. We're these little tiny people, like 2 years old, 3 years old, and we're very resourceful. We're very intuitive, and we just kind of know what we need to do to either feel safe or to get that love that we want. And so, they're really like survival strategies as kids, and it's all pretty unconscious, but we end up carrying that forward, these patterns. There's a lot of them, but the big three that I talk about a lot are people pleasing, perfectionism, and feeling overly responsible for other people. I think those are sort of the big three, the most common ones. So, yeah, we can talk a little bit about those and why, like what that's all about. Do you want to talk a little bit more about these patterns?
We can, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
well,
right.
people,
So,
yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, it's like most of us were actually really conditioned from a very young age to be people pleasers, right? If I make mommy happy, then I get love. And so we learn what we need to do to please people to get the love we want. So, as far as people pleasing, just kind of in a nutshell, or, maybe you got praised for what you did and for your accomplishments growing up. So then we learn to derive our worth from what we do. And so we develop these sort of perfectionistic tendencies. And I have all of these, by the way. I'm like recovering from all of this stuff. So, you know, raise your hand if you can relate to any of this. Right. So now, we just sort of feel like, oh, if I could just do more, if I could just do better or do more, then maybe I'll feel worthwhile, or maybe then I'll feel lovable. And the problem with that is then we sort of set impossibly high standards for ourselves, and the bar is always raising. And I'm learning how to celebrate my wins and give myself credit, and done is better than perfect.
Mhm.
But the thing is that's really fascinating about that one, Robin, is that this is the secret that like your mind doesn't really want you to know, is that whatever you do, it will never be good enough for that part of you that doesn't feel good enough. There's nothing you can ever do to make it feel good enough. So it's just kind of a endless cycle. And then the other one, the feeling overly responsible for people. Can you guys relate to that? Type in the chat if you can relate to these. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you were in a position where you sort of had to caretake the adults around you, or maybe other siblings at a time when it wasn't really age appropriate for you to feel like you had to do that. And so then you just kind of learn like, oh, I have to be the one. I have to be the one to sort of hold everything together in order to feel safe. And a lot of us are, I know in this community, are very highly sensitive, very empathic. And so we're sort of unwittingly trying to make others feel better so that we can feel better because we're feeling their pain, right? And so this is not about blaming yourself or blaming parents or blaming anybody. This is just really about understanding. Because once we can start to become aware of what are the patterns we have running, which is why I'm asking you, to just maybe type in the comments in the chat, which one of these you feel like is maybe resonating with you, just to get you to start thinking about it. Because once that's the first step, right? Once we become aware of what the patterns are that we sort of run, then we can start to shift it. But we have to sort of become aware of it first, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Thank you for spelling those out. And I think many people will say yes, and I identify with those. Yeah, I see those patterns all the time, and I have identified with the perfectionist one for sure. So
Mm.
yeah, they're all common, and we, as you say,
Uh-oh, you're frozen. Hopefully you will get
you're
unfrozen. Oh,
frozen.
now you're back. Sorry, you
Okay,
froze.
where did I stop?
Um, just that it's really common, these
Okay.
patterns.
Yeah. Yeah. So just reiterating, like for everyone to to lead with curiosity about it,
Mhm.
and like Risa said, not blaming yourself or your caregivers, but just if you can lead with curiosity, then you can also lead with more kindness towards yourself for whatever patterns you are identifying.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we're going to move on. I have another question for you, which is, how can someone begin to recognize and gently release those unhealthy patterns?
That was a perfect segue. Exactly. Like lead with curiosity. And I'll tell you
Yes.
something, if you just start to pay attention to how you feel in your
Mm,
relationships, you have a very finely tuned emotional guidance system right within you.
mm,
So
mm,
that's your cue when you're feeling any kind of difficult emotions. It maybe I'm anxious, I'm frustrated, or I'm unsatisfied, I'm fearful. Just know there's a deeper need that's not being met. And it's usually one that we actually first have to meet ourselves, because it's usually a younger part of us that needs
mm,
our love and attention. And that's really the root of what drives those patterns, is that little one inside that still is looking for love sort of in the wrong place. So that's where we can start to really shift this, is by doing that work with the inner child, which is a lot of the coaching work that I do with people. Like you said, just start to notice, okay, my emotions are telling me, maybe I feel someone pulling away. Maybe I feel really anxious. Okay, that's my cue. I've got a fear that's coming up. And
mm.
just noticing, so what's my reaction to that? What's my behavior? Am I going into this hyper control mode? That's pretty common, right? Trying to control other people and their behavior, which we know how well that works, right?
Darn it.
Or maybe I
Yeah.
feel like I need to be walking on eggshells around my partner. I'm really afraid to, I need to be avoiding any kind of conflict. So that's, just to start to notice. And so these are some of the common, patterns that come up. But it's really at the root of it is, just knowing that's our younger aspect of ourselves, our inner little one that is just not feeling safe or loved. And it's our own, it's our own love, that we can connect in that way. And I have I know some tips that we're gonna get to in a minute. Like, how do you do that? Did you guys know? Do you know you have like an inner little one inside you? Are people familiar with this work, inner child work?
I bet they are, but put yes in the comments if you are. So yeah, go ahead and share a few simple ways we can start loving ourselves more in everyday life.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what. You know what? Self-love. I feel like there's a lot of different ways we can love ourselves, but what we're talking about is, I feel like, the number one most important way that we can take care of ourselves and love ourselves is by just being present with our emotions.
Mm,
And most of us have no freaking idea how to do that. And I did not until I got, the support from this my coach, and got trained in how to do this. And I'm going to share one with you right now, a very short, easy one. But just want to say, like, it's really natural to not want to feel stuff that doesn't feel good. That's sort of our brain's protective mechanism, right? So what do? We avoid, we distract, we eat, we watch TV, we do whatever, right? Or we suppress. And so that just creates a lot of internal stress, where, all that emotion is, gets trapped in our body, and all that stress causes illness eventually. But what we want to do is, it's kind of counterintuitive, but when we're feeling a difficult emotion, when we want to run 1,000 miles away the other direction, what we actually need to do is stop and just kind of take a step back, and just it's almost like you're just observing yourself, if you can move into that, like you said, that curious, lead with that curiosity, that sort of witnessing place, and just holding loving presence and just getting curious. Oh, what am I feeling? And so here are your three questions. What am I feeling? And if you can just name it, that automatically takes some of the energy off of it, because we're acknowledging how we feel. We're not suppressing it. We're not avoiding it. We're naming it. So that kind of releases some of that pressure. What do I feel? And where do I feel it in my body? And then just maybe you even want to put your hands on that part. Maybe you feel like my throat is really constricted, or I have this heaviness in my heart, this hurt or this anger in my belly, and just maybe putting your hands there, and just like you would comfort an upset child, because there it is. And that part that's upset, it usually is that younger part of us. And so and then just asking, what do you need, sweetheart? What do you need? And this is just a very short introduction, something that hopefully people can use right now, just to start to hold that presence for yourself. But then even asking, so like, what do I need to do? What do you need, sweetheart? So then what do I need to do right now to just take care of myself? Right? Or what's the most loving thing I could do for myself, or say to myself right now? Yeah, so just that's a way. What do you feel? Name it. Where do you feel it in your body? Maybe put your hands there and just hold your loving presence with it, because it is a part of you that just usually it just needs to be acknowledged, right? It's like if it's a little child that's upset, what are you going to do? You're going to ignore it and tell it to shut up and go away? No. You're going to say, come here, sweetheart, let me tell me what's wrong. What are you feeling? And so we want to approach that feeling that way, like a loving parent. And that's really, in that way, we can learn how to become the loving parent to those younger parts of ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful, Risa. Thank you for that. Yeah, and I love what you were saying. What do you need? What do you need from me? Or, the different ways you um, changed that last question. But it's not what do you need from somebody else, because then again, you're pointing to it's not from them, or what do you need from the refrigerator, which is often a go-to that people have. Like, I'll just eat some ice cream and then I'll feel better. But what can I give you, or what do you need from inside yourself? So beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that's helpful, because that really is where the healing happens, and where everything shifts is when we can be that source of love and safety for ourselves first. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. People use the term reparenting yourself, so it sounds like that's right in line with what you're teaching people how to do, which is so essential, I think.
Yeah, it's not always easy, and that's why we have coaches, and that's why I do the coaching work I do, because we get in a lot deeper with how do you work with that inner child and work with the patterns that are coming up. And it is best to work with a trained professional in doing that work. But hopefully this is just at least a good start we can all do for ourselves. It's just when I'm upset, just to be present and hold that loving space for ourselves.
Yeah.
Way otherwise we're self-abandoning. We're really abandoning ourselves. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I agree, as we're both coaches in a similar field, it's like it's one thing to do this from a book or from a free talk or something, and another to really have someone with you, tracking you and helping you see, because sometimes you'll get a cue like this and you'll have a lot of distraction or a lot of resistance, or or you'll do it for a minute and then you'll think of something that you should be doing instead, and so your coach can help you stay with it, or at least uncover like what's in the way of staying, and track where you go when you do go, and how to come back. And so this is so valuable when you have one-on-one relationships with somebody who's supporting you in supporting yourself, and
Mhm.
be helping model that, what that loving parent might be like, instead of somebody who might say, oh, you're feeling sad, here, have a popsicle, or oh, you're feeling sad, well, shut up and stop your crying. There's a lot of parenting that many people receive that wasn't healing and supportive, and so they don't know anything otherwise, and they just do that to themselves.
Mhm.
um, so somebody like you who can support them through what that might look like to actually have a loving, caring, compassionate
Yeah,
caregiver
yeah,
is the big repatterning too.
yeah, definitely being able to model that. I've had a lot of clients who are like, wow, I've no, my mother never spoke to me like in a loving way. I didn't really know what that
Of course.
looked like, or
Yeah.
yeah, just having that other perspective too. And it's not easy. Like, that's why I say I have a coach too still. Like, it's when the real tough stuff comes up, the resistance, it will come up, and it's hard for us to go there for the deeper stuff. But that's why we need someone to hold that space and offer us that
Yeah.
reflection. So, and it
Mhm.
is actually, it's really gentle, beautiful work. It's not re-traumatizing. I don't want to make it sound like it's hard,
No,
but
no, you're not at all.
difficult emotions are sometimes we just need support with it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like someone holding your hand, it's okay, we can go there. It's,
Mm.
and I can tell that you are gentle and you're very sensitive, and you're not going to push anyone into an emotion or anything, but you're really, yeah, holding that beautiful space for people to
Mhm.
find their own truth and their own connection. And yeah. Ah, okay, well, let's continue here, because you have an upcoming event, and it's called Unshakable Self-Love, 3 Sacred Steps to Come Home to Yourself and Rewrite Your Love Story. It's a beautiful title. So, yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that and how people can join you? I have a link I'll put in the chat as you're speaking, if I can.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So it's a free 3-day mini retreat for women. It's just an hour a day. It's coming up next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, June 17, 18, and 19, from 10 to 11 Pacific in the morning, and 1 to 2 Eastern in the afternoon. And so whether you're in a relationship that's no longer feeling good, or you're single and you really are ready to create something that's real and lasting, and you don't want to fall back into old patterns, this is for you. So we're going to just take a deeper dive into all of this. You're going to come away with some even more powerful tools and processes that you can use to really understand that you're not your story. We sort of become over identified with what we call the wounded self, or just the little one who's been wounded psychologically. And so we take on this is from the consciousness of a little child, these limiting beliefs about ourselves, from the limited understanding of, 5-year-old or 3-year-old or 2-year-old. And these patterns are still running our lives and dictating how we feel about ourselves. So we're going to have an experience where we can see, I'm not those beliefs, and really reconnect with the truth of who you are. We say this is not about fixing yourself. This is about just remembering and reconnecting with the truth of who you are, that you're enough, you're worthy, you're lovable just as you are. And, when we start showing up from that place of alignment within ourselves, we're really in our power. And that is what changes everything. And that's where our power to influence our relationships comes in, and our ability just to create those healthy, loving connections with all the other garbage that gets in the way. Um, and so, yeah, we can take the lead and be the one. I would say it's the power of one to
Mm,
transform the relationship from the inside out, starting with our own relationship with ourselves and our own alignment with ourselves, our awareness. We do our own work, and we just it shifts everything.
Mm,
can
so good.
bring our best self, our best, most loving self to the table. Yeah.
Mm,
And also just knowing that the love, the love that we most want is really our own.
aw,
I mean, we all need people. Yes, we're social creatures. We need people, and it's great to be in a nice, romantic relationship. But if we don't have that for ourselves, and I know because I tried to do it, so I said, like, it only gets you so far. You could have the most loving partner in the world, be shining all their love and attention on you, and it feels good, but it only gets you so far. It's really our own alignment with ourselves on the deepest level that we need. So
mm,
that's what we're going to do. We're going to give you an experience with how to reconnect with that, take a deeper look at what are the patterns that may be running for you, and how do we really start to release those. And yeah, just coming home to you, and seeing how you can begin to transform your relationships and really start to create the healthy, loving connections that you really want, starting with yourself.
mm. So good. So good.
Mm,
I'm just happy you're doing this work. It's obviously very transformative and a huge gift. So I did put the link below, whether you're on YouTube or in the Facebook group, it's there. So click on that and sign up for Risa's free 3-day event coming up very soon. And Risa, any last words of wisdom to share before we part?
yeah, I think that's it. It's just, you you are enough. You
Mm.
are worthy, you are lovable just as you are. And I know I can say that, but words don't teach, it's the experience. So come join us for the mini retreat, and so you can have your own experience with feeling that for yourself. So just sending everyone so much love. I'm excited to support you. I hope you'll come and join us. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, Risa. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I hope you have a great retreat and I hope people join in. I'm sure they will. Sounds really juicy. Lots
Mm,
of love, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
thanks so much, Robin.
You're welcome. Bye.